The ideology of Pakistan is not defined in the constitution because the ideology defines the constitution. In simple terms, it means Islam, Urdu, army, a unitary state, denial of national and linguistic identities, which is the root cause of the trouble in Balochistan and Sindh and earlier in NWFP and the Muhajirs problems.
Welcome to The Gist on Strat News Global. I am Surya Gangadharan. My guest is Dinkar Srivastava, former diplomat. He was ambassador in Iran and he was also one of the longest serving joint secretaries, one of the longest serving officers on the UN division of the Ministry of External Affairs. But today we are going to talk about Pakistan, essentially about his book, Ideologies, Strategies and Interests. It has just come out and we are going to try and discuss some of the ideas that he has put forward in this book. So if I recall, around 2 years ago, you had written a book on Kashmir, and now is this a follow-on?
It is a follow-on with a difference. It has a larger canvas and it covers entire Pakistan, and the story starts before partition, the formative years of the idea of Pakistan, and right up to the events of 2023. When Pakistan Army headquarters was attacked and the Lahore Corps Commander's residence was ransacked by Imran Khan's protesters. It also covers General Asim Muni's some of the recent speeches.
So let's come to ideologies. What is Pakistan's ideology? I mean, I know it's a huge subject, but in a concise manner, if you can tell us.
The ideology of Pakistan is not defined in the constitution because the ideology defines the constitution. And in General Ayub Khan, he was a soldier, so in his soldierly manner, he described ideology of Pakistan as Islam. Much the same thing has been said by Pakistan's Supreme Court in its judgment. Supreme Court has cited ideology of Pakistan in upholding dismissal of two provincial governments and banning of the country's principal opposition party, Awami National Party, in 1972 by Bhutto government. And the Supreme Court's reasoning was that the National Awami Party of Wali Khan, who was the son of Badshah Khan, was against the ideology of Pakistan. Now, interestingly, this happened a year before Pakistan's third and current constitution was adopted in 1973. So the ideology of Pakistan precedes the Pakistan's constitution and actually is above it, because this is what defines what Pakistan's constitution is. In simple terms, it means Islam, Urdu, army, a unitary state, denial of national and linguistic identities, which is the root cause of the trouble in Balochistan and Sindh and earlier in NWFP and the Muhajirs problems.
So that also explains the mindset of the Pakistani army.
The ideology goes beyond Pakistani army. It was, the three, in Pakistan's historiography, three people who shaped this ideology were Sir Syed Ahmad, Iqbal and Jinnah. And Sir Syed Ahmad, in his 1888 speech in Meerut, said Hindus and Muslims are two different nations. And in the event of British departing, one of them has to conquer the other, and only then there will be peace. So even though the demand for separate state had not arisen, but the idea had been planted, and his words capture what became the ideology of Pakistan. Pakistan Army's mindset. Pakistan Army considers itself not only guardian of the country's territorial frontier, but also ideological frontier. And this means they have arrogated themselves absolute authority over Pakistanis, not in their life here, but also hereafter.
So this obsession with Kashmir, it's an army obsession, or they've been able to transcend that into the rest of the population?
Army is only a reflection of Pakistani society. And what I have tried to bring out in this book is that this binary between the civilian and army is overplayed because there is a consistency. Both the civilian leadership and the army have pursued the same goals. Whether it was the ideology of Pakistan, which started with leaders like Sir Syed Ahmad Iqbal and Jinnah and Maududi, and today it's the Pakistan Army which claims to be its custodian, or the Kashmir cause. It was that issue was raised by Jinnah. And there's a very interesting anecdote which is mentioned by Sheikh Abdullah in his memoirs, Flames of Chinar. Jinnah came to Kashmir in 1944, and he was asked by a Muslim conference activist about wishes of the people, and he said, "Let the people go to hell." Now this very neatly captures Pakistan's actual calculations about Kashmir. Jinnah's other statement was, which was repeated by General Asim Munir in his recent speech, that Kashmir is the jugular vein of Pakistan. Now what does it indicate? It indicates Pakistan's obsession with its own interests, not the Kashmiri aspirations. Kashmir is the jugular vein of Pakistan. Whether the Kashmiris regard it as such or no. So now these positions, they came from civilian leaders. And army has come. Now what is so specific which army has brought? The army has brought a unitary state, a contempt for democratic norms, an encouragement to jihadi groups in pursuit of their territorial ambitions in Kashmir and Afghanistan, and they chose a particular ideology, a particular sect of Islam to promote, and which is what is causing problems for the rest of the world and for Pakistan. This is the strand which does not accept modern state system. It's rooted in pan-Islamism, which was what Maududi and Iqbal preached. There's a continuity between the Iqbal and Maududi of pre-47 and Pakistan Army today. And this is what has led Pakistan Army to promote Taliban in Afghanistan. Taliban were brought to power by Pakistan twice in the 90s and again after 9/11 in quest of not simply its military strategy but the ideological interests of promoting an emirate. And today's clash between Taliban and the army only reflects that ideology. The Taliban are more logical. They are saying that if you promote emirate in Afghanistan, why not promote emirate in Pakistan? And that is the bone of contention. But ideology is the same. So this is something which has been brought about by Pakistan Army, which has created problems within Pakistan for Pakistani state, apart from undermining the post 9/11 dispensation which the Americans tried to create and spent almost $1 trillion and countless lives, and Pakistan undermined that effort.
So what we are looking at in the context of India is perpetual confrontation. Is that what it amounts to?
Exactly. And this is something which we must recognize, because this idea that somehow, diplomacy is icing on the cake. If you believe that only if one nation has conquered and thrust down the other nation,
Yeah.
then there can be no peace. And this is a constant, there's a consistency which has been followed, and this is reinforced by what was called Objectives Resolution, which is the cornerstone of Pakistan's constitution. It was adopted under Liaquat Ali Khan in 1949. An Objectives Resolution proclaims sovereignty of Allah over entire universe, which meant divine is supreme, not only hereafter but also here. So this gave the state enormous powers, that they could control not only the state structure and the society, but also the belief. And because this is the ultimate source of power in Pakistan, hence the clash. Initially, this ideology was being defined by the state, by civil and political leaders. And today the jihadi groups are claiming to be a stakeholder, and Imran Khan says that he is the best exponent of the ideology of Pakistan, and that explains the fight between the army and Imran Khan for the soul of Pakistan, which is the ideology of Islam, each trying to use it for its own ends. And the third stakeholder, of course, is in this are the Tehreek-e-Taliban in Pakistan.
So when we look at the future, there is really no future but a continuation of this, unless the Pakistani state in some respect collapses or...
There has been a certain disillusionment with the ideology of Pakistan, and which has led to the current round of trouble in Balochistan. Earlier, Muhajirs who created Pakistan, they have rejected this ideology. I was present in Karachi in '92 when Operation Cleanup was started against the Muhajirs. Why? Because the Muhajirs said that we are a separate Qaum. Qaum means a nation. And this, so if this trend is sustained, and the change will come from within, but if that is suppressed by Pakistan army using this ideology, which is what they are doing in Balochistan, they are undermining Baloch nationalism by promoting Islamic fundamentalism. If that happens, then the country has a very bleak future. And ideology of Pakistan is provides no solution to Pakistan's problems of the future, which is climate change and underdevelopment.
So the Pakistani military, in a sense, is running with the hare and hunting with the hounds.
Again, I would say this binary between the civilian elite and the military is not really, it doesn't really capture the reality. Both the civilian and the military, there's a consistency. Both have agreed on a state structure which has ignored the interest of the masses. Pakistan has very low socio-economic indices, and not only from global standards but even in South Asia, because most of the budget is appropriated by the military, and the civilian elite leadership is complicit in it, because the elite in Pakistan does not want to pay taxes. So large swaths of economy, which includes agriculture and retail, are outside the tax net. So the tax to GDP ratio in Pakistan is as low as 9 to 10%. And the savings rate ratio is also around 11 or 12%. In contrast, India had a savings rate of 30%. It has come down marginally. It's about 29%. Bangladesh had a savings rate of around 29-30%. China has a savings rate of 45%. So though they call China their iron brother, the philosophies are very different. Pakistan is essentially a state for the army, for the elite, and it has completely ignored the masses.
And they want to keep it that way, with no change, nothing.
There is there's obviously resentment, there are protests, and you have seen the events of May 29th May 2023, when there was attack on the Lahore Corps Commander's residence.
Yeah.
And an unprecedented move, the army headquarters in Rawalpindi was attacked by the people because they didn't have food to eat. So, let's hope that army and the elite have learned their lesson, that it cannot go on like this.
Is it strange that the Bangladesh military, which is a clone of the Pak military, at some point realized that it had to step back, from running the country, but the same thing doesn't occur here?
Bangladesh military stepped back only momentarily, and you have seen the overthrow of Sheikh Hasina's government, which could not have been possible without the army giving tacit consent. A bunch of stoons, certainly, overthrowing an elected government. So the problem is there also, but it's deeper in case of Pakistan, because in case of Bangladesh, there was an interregnum for almost 30-40 years after 1971, where the country had broken away from that ideology. They are unfortunately seem to be
going back to
it, and General Asim Munir, after fall of Sheikh Hasina's government, exulted that there were those who thought that the ideology of Pakistan has been drowned in Bay of Bengal, and how wrong they are.
How do you explain the renewed US interest in Pakistan, getting back together, lunch, at the White House?
That you have to understand that you have to look at the context of West Asia, not South Asia. General Asim Munir's meeting around 15th June, this took place 2 days after Israel launched attack on Iran. The build-up goes back a little further. On 10th June, General Kurilla, the head of US Central Command, in his testimony to US Congress, said that there's an unprecedented opportunity to take action against Iran. Now, in the same speech, he also mentioned Pakistan's role, and he commended Pakistan for being a valuable partner in the fight against terrorism. Now, and he gave the example of, Pakistan turning over a jihadi who was involved in killing of 13 US servicemen at the time of evacuation from Kabul in 2021. Now, this was very curious, because America's humiliating withdrawal from Kabul after spending treasure over 20 years was brought about by Pakistan. So Pakistan's complicity in giving sanctuary to Taliban and supporting them to undermine the dispensation or the regime in Kabul. So that it doesn't quite explain that. In any case, the Americans are out of Afghanistan for 4 years. So there was nothing so urgent to demand President's attention and for him to, throw all the protocol and allow the army chief to sup with him. So you have to look elsewhere, and that elsewhere was his testimony that this was an unprecedented opportunity to take action against Iran, and Pakistan is the next door neighbor. So it's very, useful. And it was no coincidence, on 15 June, Pakistan announced closure of 5 border posts, trading posts on Iran-Pakistan border. Now, let me take you back a little. In 1965, Iran under Shah had provided sanctuary to Pakistan Air Force in the closing phase of India-Pakistan war. Here, when Iran was in trouble, the Pakistani army chief was having lunch at White House and had recommended Pakistan had recommended Nobel Prize for President Trump, who shortly thereafter led America into war against Iran, and to cap it all, Pakistan slammed the door shut on Iran's face by closing the border posts. So obviously there has been some give and take, and this goes back further, because you would recall that at the height of Operation Sindoor, IMF announced a fresh loan of $1.4 billion for Pakistan under Climate Resilience Fund. This was in addition to release of $1 billion tranche under an existing commitment. Now, the Americans, there has to be some quid pro quo for this generosity. So obviously there were some services rendered. So there was something cooking since May.
So, last question. You served as ambassador in Iran. Can we expect a book on Iran at some point?
This book took me 3 years. So, Iran is a fascinating country. I had served there 4 years. I had the privilege of negotiating Indian participation in Chabahar. And there are many stories which, people don't realize that some of the Indian epics like Panchtantra survived because the Sanskrit version had been destroyed. The Persian translation survived, and that was translated back. And something even more interesting, Iran's foreign minister of the period, Salehi, in my first meeting with him in 2011, told me that the root of Persian is Sanskrit. I did not know this, because I know, and most Indians know, that the root of Urdu is Hindi. And Persian and Arabic. But we didn't know the other way around. And he was right. I checked it later with the director of Tehran Museum, and he confirmed that till 6th century, that is still just before the Arab invasion of Iran, the Middle Persian, which was spoken there, which was, what is there in Avesta, was actually derived from Sanskrit. So 80% words in Middle Persian were from Sanskrit. That, unfortunately, that strand got forgotten, and the script got changed after the Arab invasion. But the words remain. There are many words which are still there. And I was quite surprised, in Farsi, Persian, leather is called charm. And they use the term charm, which is a Sanskrit word. In India, we say chamda, which is a corrupted version. But in Iran, they use the original Sanskrit word. So this shows that those similarities are still there.
Fascinating. So maybe your next book, should be Iran. Looking forward to that. Ambassador Srivastava, thank you very much for your time. And hopefully I'll get some time to read this book also. Thank you very much, and looking forward to your next book.
Thank you.
That's all we have for you on this broadcast. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media. Thank you very much.